Right, we'll move on to question 5, and we'll call upon the Honourable Member for Arbory, Castletown, Malew, Mr Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr President. Could I go back to the previous question?
No, you can't. We're moving on to question 5 now.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr President. I would like to ask the Minister for the Cabinet Office what assessment has been made of progress at the sites identified in the Castletown Housing Land Review.
Minister for the Cabinet Office to respond.
Thank you, Mr President. Insofar as progress at the sites identified in the review, 4 sites were named by the Cabinet Office as having potential for development as additional housing sites in Castletown. These were land at Knockrushen and land to the east and west of Malew Road. The findings of the review concluded that these sites are worthy of being fully considered via planning applications. I understand, and this has been checked with DEFRA, that there are no valid planning approvals for these sites or any pending applications. 1 application, I understand, was refused and 1 withdrawn. Therefore, there has not been any progress in respect of those sites. In terms of assessment of that, I'm advised that Cabinet Office has monitored the outcome of the planning applications submitted in the named sites. Cabinet Office has accepted and confirmed publicly that there is a need to look at any new development opportunities in the Castletown area as part of the All-Island Area Plan. So, from a planning policy point of view, the position is that the next opportunity to consider the allocation of additional housing land in Castletown, which includes looking again at the sites identified in the review findings, will be through the All-Island Area Plan, which Cabinet Office aims to bring to Tynwald before the end of 2025. This will revoke all other area plans in operation and supersede the Castletown Housing Land Review.
Supplementary, Mr Moorhouse.
Mr President, and thank you, Minister, for that clarity. In terms of 2025, it is still a distant date. In terms of the 4 sites that are currently being identified in the plan, which was so clearly identified by the Minister then, the planning inspectors and the island planners still require clarification on how these should be used, because at the moment they appear to be autonomous and potentially irrelevant pronouncements by the Cabinet Office. Is there anything that can be done with those actual sites between now and 2025? Because it is a significant amount of time. It's going to be almost a decade from them being announced. Thank you.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr President. In the review, the Castletown Housing Land Review, when the reporting on Knockrushen application happened, the reason for the refusal stated that whilst Castletown Housing Land Review asserts the need for additional dwellings to support Castletown's position in the settlement hierarchy, its findings are open to question in terms of the effect on allocations in the south. Its findings have not been examined as a public inquiry or subsequently approved by Tynwald, and then it was considered that it cannot therefore carry as much weight as the Island Development Plan, which has been subject to examination approval as required by law. I think the situation is that there is something needed which is a bit stronger than the original Castletown Housing Land Review, and that the Island Plan, although it is some time away, would provide the certainty for Castletown that the review wasn't able to do. Thank you, Mr President.
Supplementary, Mr Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr President. Thank you, Minister, for that clarity. In some respects, it's good that we've got a date of 2025. We've also got the issue of this time period in between now and then. It's still a significant amount of time, and it's going to be potentially well into 2025. So again, it's going to be an election issue. It's going to be 10 years where there's been something identified as being a development site, which is not going to have really the potential to be assessed fully by the planners. Is there any way in which a public inquiry could take place to actually allow those to be looked at as serious possibilities between now and 2025, or is it merely a case of having to sit back and wait? Thank you very much.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr President. My understanding is that there's nothing stopping planning applications going in for those sites, but I can clarify today that in order to re-evaluate and potentially change the land allocations in Castletown, for example from countryside to that of residential, the proper mechanism to do that is via a review of the operational development plan, i.e. the area plan for the south. The process to be followed to do this is set out in the development plan procedure, Schedule 1 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1999. Cabinet Office has already committed to review Castletown as part of the All-Ireland Area Plan, which will bring together and update all existing plans into a single coherent plan in conformity with an updated strategic plan. I think it's clear from the nature of the questions and the issues raised that it is that sort of coherence that is needed in order to address the problems in Castletown. So I do appreciate the honourable member's concerns.
Supplementary question. Mr Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr President. And as always, this is to be helpful. And I'd like to congratulate and compliment the Minister responsible for planning policy on very full and helpful answers. Just for clarity, in the answer, the one before last, the Minister used the phrase Ireland Plan, which now has the meaning of, as I understand it, the embryonic programme for government. And I think she probably meant to mean the All-Ireland Area or Development Plan, which could perhaps come to be called the Ireland Plan as well. And I just thought that might be helpful to put on record in case this ever comes to quasi-legal proceedings in respect of planning applications.
Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Redden. Yes, I do mean the All-Ireland Development Plan. Thank you.